I'm a G. You're a boss. And you're more like a B-A-U-C-E, boss. And let me be frank, I got that hot sauce.
Shut up and sit down.
Welcome everybody to episode 9 of the Realest Guys podcast.
This many you guys can't see, never mind.
Can't see.
If only there was a camera.
if only. Yeah, so we made it to episode 9. We're almost into double digits.
It would have been 10 if we didn't get sick.
Yeah, I got sick. And Mario got sick.
Yeah.
I wasn't sick.
Kyle wasn't sick.
He was coming off his high of beating us at Battlegrounds with the picks. I will give credit where credit is due.
Didn't it come down to the main event?
It did. It come down to the main event.
Yeah. And me going risky with the Dean pick.
I mean, we couldn't have scripted it any better ourselves.
Yeah, it was great.
No,
Each picked a different Shield member, and it came down to the triple threat. It's good stuff.
So anyway, Kyle gets his dues. He wanted to be called the champ this episode, but we're just going to leave it at the beginning of the episode.
12-month reign, I'm just saying. Realist.
Of course, this is the Realest Guys podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Realest Guys PC. Like us on Facebook, Realest Guys Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on iTunes Podcast. We're on Stitcher. Pretty much anywhere you can listen to a podcast, we're there.
Got a website.
We do have a website, and thank you for remembering, because I've actually put a lot of work into that.
You did.
RealestGuysPodcast.com.
It's legit.
You can actually do everything that I mentioned before. And as always, if you don't want to like us, you don't want to follow us, and you don't want to subscribe to us, there's only one word to describe you, and I'm going to spell it out for you. SAWFT. Soft. Boom. So we're going to kick it on over to the Realest Commish. Is that what you were?
I don't even remember.
Nobody knows these things anymore.
Somebody's
going to look it up for us. Somebody do it.
Somebody do it. It'll probably end up being Kyle.
No.
So we're going to kick it off with Raw.
Number 1 in the ratings, number 1 in your hearts, and number 1 to lead the show. That's what it is.
Hey, there we go.
That's what it is.
I can dig it. Well, let's kick it off. Let's kick it off with the Realest Commish of Raw.
We'll go with that.
They just don't have the number 1 commish.
They have the Realest Commish.
No, but what we do have is the best women's feud currently going on in the WWE today. And that's how we open up our show on Monday.
Boom.
Right? Sasha Banks, fresh off her victory last week Monday, which unfortunately we weren't here, like we already talked about. But she won the WWE Women's Championship last week on Raw. And this week on Raw, she opens up the show, which I think was a nice touch. Never mind the Authority coming out and having an opening promo. Never mind, John Cena coming out and opening the show with a promo. We get the Women's Championship in the spotlight to start the show, which was cool.
John Cena's on SmackDown, so he couldn't have come out for you. But
never mind Brock Lesnar coming out to open up the show. We get the Women's Championship on the spotlight.
He's on the A show.
It was okay, to be honest with y'all. She's not really doing it for me on the mic right now, Sasha Banks. She's stuttering a little too much. I don't know if it was the pressure, first time promoing with the belt on her shoulder. I mean, I can't go out there and talk in front of 18,000 people, but, she's a professional. She gets paid to do this. I was a little unnerved a bit by her opening promo. I don't know if y'all heard the same.
For the legit boss, she's kind of smiley and giggly right now. And I mean, she kind of broke at Battlegrounds when everybody was chanting Bayley, Bay, and the music hit. Right before the music hit, and she kind of broke, and she got this smile, and it was the first time that I hadn't seen her in a while, in her serious mode. And since then, she's just been kind of smiley, giggly, that inner 5-year-old.
Which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
But it doesn't seem like the legit boss.
Exactly.
The legit boss seems like somebody who would be serious, stern,
Exactly. But anyway, I mean, she does her spiel, and Charlotte comes out, and they go ahead and touch again on the feud, and we'll have a rematch at SummerSlam for the WWE Women's Championship. And for some reason, which I still haven't figured out, 5 days later, Chris Jericho comes out and interjects.
Quiet.
He just comes out and he puts himself in the middle of it. I don't understand really why. I'm still trying to figure it out why. But it's okay because then we get graced with the presence of the realest guy in the room. The certified G, Enzo Amore. And we get a funny little back and forth between Enzo and Sasha, which I dug that. That was pretty cool. How you doing? That was pretty cool. So,
hey,
anyway.
I don't mind Chris Jericho coming out because he's Chris Jericho. Drink it in, man.
I'd rather have the gift of gab than the gift of Jericho. So
yeah, some people just don't like the Jericho juice.
Well,
all
hashtag
about
Jericho
Enzo
juice.
coming out.
Hashtag Jericho juice.
No, but I mean, it didn't make any sense to me. But like I said, it did lead us to getting some Enzo, where it wasn't expected, and for it being a new era, we sure did get an Attitude Era retread there with a mixed tag match, which was refreshing. When's the last time we saw a mixed tag match?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So that was pretty cool, and that leads us to
NXT had a 10-man, but that's not in WWE. But NXT right before the draft, they had American Alpha, Shinsuke. Wasn't that a 10-man?
Wasn't that a house show? House shows aren't canon; they don't count.
They're not canon. Okay.
Yeah, seriously, they're not canon.
But we got to see, anybody who watched the clips got to see it.
I didn't watch it.
You got the really cool Too Sweet, and then they all did the Shinsuke.
I do remember that, yeah.
With
I don't.
Bailey, Shinsuke, Finn Balor, and American Alpha on one team.
That sounds awesome.
It was cool.
It was pretty cool.
It was good.
But yeah, no, it's definitely. I would agree. I mean, aside from the house show, it was refreshing, and that did lead to that tag team match, and that's
it was a standard mixed tag match. We got my bae on commentary somehow, some way. I don't know why. But Kevin Owens was on commentary for some reason, which was
Why you
awesome.
use that word?
I hate that word.
I hate that word.
I hate that word.
Kevin Owens is not a dirty word, guys.
It's no.
Yeah. Both of those are dirty words. Bay and Kevin Owens.
Why if I didn't use that word? Bay. I'm sorry.
We just got
off topic.
Anyway.
Bunny Trail.
So, go ahead.
The slap in that match. Chris Jericho trying to get in the ring.
Chris Jericho, yeah.
And, that was...
Which led to natural selection and Charlotte picking up the win for those two. It was a good match. It extended that feud. They did the best that they could. There's, SummerSlam's 2 weeks away, so they needed to get some type of confrontation in there. And, this was a good way of setting it up. I didn't like the fact that Sasha ate the pin. It made no sense story-wise. I mean, now Charlotte beat Sasha. Mixed tag match or not, Charlotte still beat Sasha. And yes, Dana Brooke came in and interfered, so maybe that's the angle to play. Charlotte still can't win without having some type of interference or whatever, but we'll see. And then Big Cass comes out after Jericho hits the code breaker on Enzo, and we get a little Big Cass sighting. So that's always fun. That's always fun. Braun Strowman, jobber. That was that. I'm not, it is what it is.
Evan Anderholm.
And
you forget that name now because you'll never.
You won't hear him again. Yeah, Then we get the return of Los Matadores, right?
No,
The Shining Stars.
Yeah.
I'm so upset that these guys suck because they're from Puerto Rico, and it really does annoy me that they suck right now.
No, man.
We give you an invitation.
It's just so bad.
Yeah.
But they beat the Golden Truth, so that was cool.
They beat the
Right?
Golden.
They beat the Golden.
They beat the Golden. Truth wasn't very much in that.
Was he still Pokemon going?
He was Pokemon going the whole.
He needs to Pokemon.
Hey, what do you guys
go
think
home.
of Goldust's new paint this week?
It didn't cover the back of his head, which kind of
He's been doing that a little bit more.
Yeah,
lately.
but every time he does it, it weirds me out.
I thought he looked like a Power Ranger.
He looked like a kid's version of a Power Ranger because that strap mask that doesn't.
Fair enough.
He looks like a ninja that was crying too much. So now he's got tear stains on his paint.
The tears coming.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
He's a crying Power Ranger.
He is a crying Power Rangers. Zordon took away his Megazord. He didn't clean up his room.
No.
That's what happened.
Wah, wah.
Then we get a cool. Go
Is that
ahead.
a plug for the movie coming out?
What movie?
You haven't heard Power Rangers movie?
Yeah, the reboot where they
The
all look like
reboot?
Iron Man.
They're making a new Power. Oh my gosh!
Seriously?
We'll talk about this
Okay,
later.
well,
But yeah, this is gonna be awesome.
We get Finn Balor in the ring. Get a nice little
Finn
interview back and
Balor.
forth with Seth Rollins. That was awesome. I'm really excited. Never mind just that it's the first Universal champ But to see them two in the ring go at it, I'm not sure if they ever worked together in the Indies or not. But I'm pumped for this match.
Me too, man.
This match is gonna be sick. And they both play each other's strengths really well. I'm just curious where the characters are going to develop. Seth Rollins is pretty much playing the heel right now, as we know. Do you guys think they're going to bring up or push the Bullet Club onto Balor this quickly? SummerSlam, maybe he uses them to come up with the victory?
I'm not really sure. That's one thing that I'm I'm kind of waiting for, because the Ballard Club thing is coming back. They actually were supposed to get some that. They got rid of that trademark or whatever. But now they're kind of bringing it back. They're really pushing that. I'm kind of almost just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with. I mean, it is what it is. I have yet to see Finn Balor in a heel role, which I've heard from a lot of people that have watched him in the Indies that he's a great heel. So I'm all for it, and maybe that'll push Seth to have his nice face run. Who knows?
Hey.
Who knows?
Kyle?
I don't want to see Balor as a heel right now. He has such a good face run in him. All of NXT,
I agree.
he was fabulous. He had such a good face.
He was
run.
phenomenal, even.
Phenomenal. I'll use that word again. But yeah, he's got such a good face career ahead of him. I think we will see it at one point in time. I hope we see Rollins as a face at one point in time as well. But I don't want to see it now.
Fair.
For Finn, at least, I would love to see.
That makes sense. It's just something that I've been thinking about. If they're going to play, especially because Seth was talking about how he was the first. He was the first NXT champ. He was the first one to beat Roman Reigns, and then Finn Balor beat him the next night. And playing up those. Yeah, Finn, you did everything that I did, but I did it first, and I did it better. And that was pretty much the crux of that promo. And I it'd be interesting to see if they go that route where, okay, Seth, well, you had the Shield and you did that good, and yes, you did that first, but I've got the club and I'm going to do it better, And maybe they go that way. That's kind of how I was reading between the lines on that.
I'm hoping the Ballard Club is more like a C Nation kind of thing, like he's using it as the encompassing term for the WWE Universe fans that follow him.
I'm thinking that I'm hoping that they hold off on the Bullet Club. Or the club, Ballard Club, whatever they're going to end up calling it. Hope they wait it out a little bit. Finn Balor's had a good face run at NXT. Give him the face run in WWE. Let the club, Gallows and Anderson, have their hand in the tag team division without a superstar overshadowing them. Really give them the opportunity to shine in the tag team division, and don't rush what something good that they could have.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose coming into the into the WWE. Sorry, I've got 18 different sports related things going on this week. Coming into the WWE made sense to have them come in as a faction because it immediately boosts them as a whole and them as individuals. The club at this point doesn't need a big superstar to be able to boost them as a tag team, and Balor doesn't need enforcers to boost him as a superstar. Okay. They're all good on their own. They can be at the top of their individual or tag team titles where they're at now. They don't need a boost.
Legit. Okay. And that brings us to Mark Henry having a match against, Mr. Machka himself.
Still got those still got some openings in the Hall of Pain.
Apparently. Hey, I'm all for Mark Henry getting another run.
Me too.
I'm all for that.
Openings in the Hall of Pain, but Rusev's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's obvious. Rusev beats Mark Henry, retains the U.S. Championship. It was back and forth match, but really the story of the match is Roman Reigns coming in at the end and attacking Rusev, setting up that feud. Possibly as quickly as SummerSlam? Do we think we're going to have a U.S. title match at SummerSlam, or is this just going to be a one-on-one?
I think it'll be a title match.
I think it'll be a title match at SummerSlam, and because Reigns was staring at the belt at the end. I think he's still kind of, I wouldn't say in the doghouse, but I think if they do go heads at SummerSlam, I think Rusev will go over on it.
I think the fact that Roman's not a heel, though, I think Rusev goes over in some dirty way, which creates a feud for them to have for a little bit. I think that it's a good feud. Both of them kind of powerhouses. Both of them doing their own thing. It's going to be a fun match at SummerSlam, and it's going to be a fun feud if they go on with it. But I do like the one we haven't heard Roman talk long periods of time.
The less he talks, the more interested in his character I am. And
yes.
that's me personally.
For sure. But, like, since he's come back, he's not been talking.
Yeah, that's my dog, man.
It's been beautiful.
Yeah.
Because when he's in the ring, like, I'm thinking, like, if I'm in the ring with him, I'm scared shitless when he's looking at me now with that beard and he just not saying a word to anybody. And then you get that look on Rusev when he's talking, I told you nobody could beat me. And, like, Roman Reigns' music hits and he starts walking out and Rusev's like, oh, crap.
Before we move to the next segment, what do you guys think of Roman Reigns' beard?
It's beautiful. I love it.
Everything, it's just, one week it's phenomenal and the next week it's beautiful. That's awesome.
It's getting pushed too hard, too quickly. There's a rocket strapped to the back of the beard, and,
hopefully
he needs to lose a couple. The beard needs to lose a couple matches to, like, Braun Strowman's beard, and we can discuss that later.
His beard loses to Strowman. Any member of the Wyatt family right now, or past member of the Wyatt family?
I think there's too much hype on his beard right now.
So Roman's beard falls somewhere on the card between the Wyatt family beards and that peach fuzz that Xavier Woods had a couple weeks ago.
Okay, all right. As long as you didn't take a shot at my beard, we're good. So Titus O'Neil had a match. Speaking of beards,
Yeah.
What about before we go on? What about the new look Roman? He's raw. He's got the red.
Bro,
he's still wearing a vest.
Man, it's called Sharpie. They just took red Sharpie and just colored his other outfit.
He's still rocking the vest.
He's not. It still looks better.
He still hasn't evolved. We're still waiting for his next evolution when Triple H comes back, and maybe he'll be Batista 2.0. Who knows? But as of right now, he'll be Batista. Titus O'Neil beats Darren Young.
Womp womp.
Nia Jax beats somebody by the name of Ariel Monroe.
She is the wife of one of the cruiserweights that's competing in the Cruiserweight Classic.
I didn't know that. Little fun fact for you guys today.
She is. Can't remember which cruiserweight, but one of the 32.
Senor Monroe. That's her husband's name.
Sure.
Yeah, that was it. That was one.
I think it's something Anderson. I can't remember.
Is it Carl Anderson, his hot Asian wife?
Was that?
That wasn't his hot Asian wife.
But speaking of Carl Anderson, that leads us right into a nice tag match that we saw between Kofi Kingston and Big E going up against Gallows and Anderson.
With no Xavier.
No Xavier. He drew, what was it, the short stick? Was that why he was in the back?
He drew the banana. The odd fruit out. And then you have that moment of them putting the two oranges together, and he's like slowly, and he's like, "Nope, that's too far. We can't." No.
That was the PG line right there.
They have gotten really risky with their PG, with Enzo and Cass and New Day.
Listen,
they have pushed that PG
here's
line
the thing
to the limit
with New Day
a few times.
They've been talking about eating booty for almost a year now.
They've been talking about eating booty. They had the rib for her pleasure unicorn horns.
That's right. That dance that they do, the WW, that's not exactly PG, guys.
Xavier Woods informed Enzo Amore that he was the only one that was allowed to blow his lady.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
they've been pushing the PG bounds a little bit, and I like it. I mean, I want to get back to the Attitude Era where there were no PG bounds, but still, it's entertaining.
Yeah, it is, and it was an entertaining match between the two teams. Mm-hmm. Big E got the roll up over Carl Anderson, and then the club decided to just go ahead and wreck stuff and take him out piece by piece.
And they took him out,
and they did. They did. Hit two. What are they calling that? They're calling it the Boot of Doom, right?
Yeah, the Boot of Doom.
The Boot of Doom. Big E got hit with two boots of doom, and then he met his.
You had the Boot of Doom on Xavier Woods, kind of.
That was pretty cool.
They lifted Xavier by the hair,
and then he got hit with the boot from the outside, which was pretty dope. I'm excited. This is the first real time because the Wyatt family never wins a pay-per-view match. This is really the first time that I think the New Day is really in trouble of losing their tag team titles.
Yeah. And the Wyatts weren't never going to compete for the tag team. Yeah. None of them are tag team competitors.
So this should be interesting. I'm really really curious is to finally pull the trigger and no pun intended, let the club win the titles at SummerSlam.
And like I said, New Day already has the record.
And they've already set the record.
And I'm pretty sure I mentioned that a few months ago when there was another match that was kind of in question of New Day losing, and I was like, I think they're going to keep New Day with the belts and have them beat this next record or whatever it's going to be. And sure enough, they did. So I think
what do you think about the long runs that are going on right now?
I think it's awesome. They're finally bringing prestige back to the titles. I mean, you take a look at what's going on in the UFC, and I know they don't necessarily view themselves as competition. But let's take a look for a second. You've got the New Day, 300 plus days as champion. You had Charlotte, 300 plus days as champion. You had Seth Rollins, 300 plus days as champion.
Hell, Miz is at like
Miz at 120. It was 120 on Tuesday, so it's like 123 now. 120. But even so, that's 4 months.
Yeah.
You look at the UFC, specifically, let's talk about the women's division there. You had Ronda Rousey, who had a vice grip on it. Then she lost to Holly Holm, who then lost to Miesha Tate, who Miesha Tate just lost last week. I mean, that's, and then the same thing happened, I think, with the light heavyweight. Their champion just lost last Saturday as well.
And then I think of like some of the greats in UFC and GSP. How long did he have it for?
I mean, definitely it adds prestige to a belt.
Yeah.
Or into that individual the longer they keep it, and I think it's good. It's good that they're doing that too.
Well, it's not just that they're doing it, but they're mentioning it. Yeah. The Miz, he the first thing he said was, "Welcome to my 120th day as champion." Charlotte said, "I was a champion for 300 days. I brought prestige back to the Divas title and then the Women's Championship." It's awesome that they're doing that. I love long reigns. Look at the days of Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan.
5 years.
We're talking about back when the title actually meant something. Whereas they started playing a little hot potato there, where that's how you lead to somebody like John Cena, who's been around for 12 years, having 15 different title reigns.
Let me ask you this. Would you prefer to have one long title reign or a few long title reigns or 16 different small reigns?
Give me 4 CM Punk reigns. 330 some odd days.
So you're the wrestler though.
Yeah.
You want 4. I think it's hard to go against. I mean, okay, John Cena. What was his longest reign? It wasn't CM Punk. It was up there, but it wasn't.
It was still, I think, 300.
Was it 300
plus? Because I think wasn't CM Punk? Didn't we have this conversation too recently? Yeah. CM Punk had like 380 something days,
and John was like 360
something.
So his longest is a year,
and that's dope. Like for John Cena. Because
he's got
you kind of forget about that long reign in the 15-time champion. But you look at CM Punk. I mean, he's not in the company anymore. But what's the one reign that sticks out to you the most? His most recent one, of course.
Yeah.
And the longest one.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know. I like how they're doing it long, and
I like
both.
Company. I like both. I think long reigns are great. I would love to see them again, but if you're not getting up to the Hulk Hogan, if you're not touching that upper echelon, I'd rather have the upper echelon of I got 15 wins.
Speaking of not touching that upper echelon, and it sucks to say this, but Cesaro had a match against Sheamus, and it was a solid match, but Cesaro's never going to reach those heights, and I'm really interested in seeing how they kind of play out his story. They mentioned how he was frustrated after the draft, how he wanted to be at SmackDown. I'm wondering if this is going to be one of those guys where, I don't know if y'all remember their first draft brand split, where they had guys who jumped back and forth and then permanently stood out in SmackDown even though they were drafted to Raw. I'm wondering if that's going to kind of play out Cesaro's story here, or maybe he might defect from Raw over to SmackDown. It's something that I also thought a little bit earlier when Mark Henry was talking to Steph and Mick earlier in the night, but just something I think we should keep an eye on if we see anything like that. Again, talking about upper echelon and people who would never reach it, and I know that's why you were laughing. The one-man band, baby. Heath Slater makes an appearance on Raw again. He wants a spot, and I don't think he's going to get it. But I'm interested in Heath.
He's still with the company. He'll
get somewhere. Honestly, I am the most interested in Heath Slater now than I've ever been in his entire career. And I read something recently and how it was somebody was saying that Heath Slater has the potential to kind of have like an Edge-like career.
I could see it. I can see it just because he's obviously somebody that the company trusts a lot in. When we were approaching Raw 1000 a couple years back, who was the one that they sent out there with the legends? It was Heath Slater. He was there sure as hand. The company trusted Heath with these guys who really shouldn't be in the ring. You know, he was the one that faced Lita. He was the one that took the DDT from Jake the Snake. He was the one that faced Vader. He was the one that faced Psycho Sid Vicious. I mean, these are guys who even in their, you know, when they were healthier, Psycho Sid being a perfect example, was never the best wrestler. You know, he always had the look, he always had the backing, but he was never the best wrestler. They trusted Heath to go out there with him.
Yeah.
So Heath is one of those guys, and I think the company, they might joke at his expense, but you know, he's the one that's going to get the last laugh. He's going to be the one that's going to be in the company for another 10 years.
I really think in last week's promo that he had on Raw, I actually really enjoyed. I liked his intensity that he had, and he really was like, you know what? Pretty much was like, yeah, dude, I'm a serious competitor. So I'm interested to see where they're going to go with it. I think if they take him more serious, I think he can be a legitimate. So
let me ask you something. Drew McIntyre, when's he coming back? We got Jinder Mahal back. Mm-hmm. Drew McIntyre's got to be next, right? 3MB, baby.
As soon as his TNA contract's up?
We'll get to that. So Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn had a good match. Nice back and forth. It was you know, it was a match that I don't think a lot of people have seen. I don't remember them ever coming across each other in NXT. I know they visited a lot of same places in the Indies, but it was a good match, and you know, Sami Zayn, little hubris, going for the helluva kick one too many times and gets rolled up into the pedigree and eats the pin, and I mean, it was a good match. It was a good match. Set the story. Seth Rollins gets a little more momentum under his belt. I mean, that's really.
Yeah, it was back and forth, solid match, entertaining. I like it.
Yeah. And then we get the return of the Beast Incarnate, Paul Heyman. Brock Lesnar makes his long-awaited re-debut onto Raw. First time since WrestleMania.
Oh, is that who Paul Heyman's security guard was?
Yes.
He just stood there. I didn't.
Well, you know, they weren't in the Broctagon, so he had to take a step back.
Gotcha.
You know, he had to wait. While Paul Heyman delivered his usual shtick, this is the conqueror. This is the man who dominates the Octagon, dominates the WWE Universe, and then, oh no, RKO out of nowhere, which I can legitimately say this was the first time that an RKO out of nowhere is legitimately out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming.
I didn't. I saw it coming, but I didn't see it. Like, I knew it was going to happen. But yeah.
Well, no, I actually really bought into the whole SmackDown and Raw going to be separate. So I did not really anticipate seeing Randy Orton there on Monday night. You know, and it was fun. The crowd popped. I love the subtle things. They didn't play his music on the way out. Stephanie coming out. You're not supposed to be here. You think it's funny? You're not supposed. I thought that was
him running out.
Him running out back through the crowd. Exactly. All that stuff. I mean, they really played it out nicely.
Speaking of subtle things,
go ahead.
I loved the lighter side of Randy Orton in that. Of like, Paul Heyman, he hears voices. I hope his voices are telling him Brock's gonna beat him. Because if they're not, they're lying. And then he hits the RKO and he's like starts listening to the voices and his hands are going. And
it was good. It was a great touch. And then even pouncing back on the back of his shirt, saying hashtag out of nowhere, whatever the back of the shirt says, and he's alluding to that. It was great when Randy Orton does that. When he's that fun guy, dude, I feel like I can really get behind Orton as a character there. When he's just bland, Randy Orton, robotic Orton, I mean, you know, whatever. But, you know, I mean, and then Raw goes off the air. Randy Orton and SmackDown stand tall at the end of Raw, which makes no sense.
Yeah, I like, there's been a lot of, excuse me guys, I found more pizza. So, you might hear my smacking. But, I wasn't, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. In my head. Because I got voices in there, too. So, I've heard a lot of grumbling about people not liking Randy Orton coming on Raw. Because they want the brands to be separate. they put themselves in this situation because both characters are on two separate shows.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are kind of wigging out like, oh, they need to keep both shows separate. This is too soon for this to happen. No, I think this is just for this storyline. I think in every other aspect, they're keeping the shows separate.
Exactly.
So, although they're complaining, really doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
We talked about it earlier. There's going to be 4, maybe 5 if they bring back
Bragging Rights, the greatest pay-per-view of all
If they
time.
bring back Bragging Rights, maybe 5. But there's going to be probably 4 pay-per-views a year that Raw and SmackDown do together. There's going to be SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and we're assuming Survivor Series will have the brand split Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series match. So every time that those pay-per-views come about, we can assume that there's going to be some sort of like invasion, DX taking the tank up to WCW door. We can hope.
If only, that'd be awesome.
We can hope for something like that to happen when those pay-per-views come around, because they're saying Raw versus SmackDown are 2 separate brands that are competing. And if 2 separate brands are competing, when they get together in a pay-per-view, you're going to see the aftermath and you're going to see the build-up.
Yeah. And I mean, and piggybacking off of that, this is also a part-time guy. This is not somebody who's going to be here going forward. After SummerSlam, we probably won't see him again now until the Royal Rumble. You know, if this being Brock Lesnar. So in situations like this, it makes sense for Randy Orton to be there. Because let's be honest, Brock Lesnar's not going to show up on SmackDown. You know, they're not. They won't surprisingly show Brock Lesnar on SmackDown. Lesnar's going to be one of those guys that you want to advertise when he's going to be there. So he's not going to just show up on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So it was smart of them going about this way. Randy Orton, you don't have to advertise him. You know, you're going to have people coming in regardless, especially with some of the names that they would advertise for Raw. But for SmackDown, you're going to want to get as much return on your investment with Brock Lesnar and advertise him being there on the show. So it makes sense. And
we're going to get into that following Josh's News Corner. Welcome back to Josh's News Corner. I got a few different items here for you. If you might have seen, because we're going to discuss SmackDown in a little bit, but Bray Wyatt, he had a little snafu with a roll-up pin with Dolph Ziggler, rolled his ankle up. Could have turned out really bad. They actually called for the X to stop the match, but he wanted to keep going. Good on him. If he could keep going, sure. I was feeling really bad for the guy because he cannot catch a break when it comes to injuries. And so, at the end of the night, when it was all over, found out that it was only a sprain, which not only a sprain. I mean, sprains still hurt. You've sprained your ankle before or anything. But what's it called? Let's see here. But yeah, it's only a sprain. He's still scheduled for live events. Still going to be there. Now, the only time we should worry is if he starts missing those live events and stuff like that. Moving on. Eric Bischoff. I haven't heard that name in a while. I was looking up some stuff.
he's back and better than ever.
I hope he's not back.
Yeah.
Like Eric
Bischoff. He's suing TNA. Why, you ask? I have no idea. But he's suing TNA. He mentioned it in an interview on Main Event Radio.
I think that was his newscaster's voice. I have no idea.
Exactly.
It's just in? I don't know.
From Montreal Comic Con. Eric Bischoff is suing TNA. They asked him a question. He said, I can't answer that. I'm in a lawsuit right now. So what it could be, and we have no idea. So moving on. I'm sorry.
Oh,
all
gosh,
right, and
no.
the last bit of
You're good.
news.
That was great.
The last bit of news that I have. Gotta get my news voice. The last bit of news that I have: SmackDown Live, according to Dan O'Brien, may be getting tag team titles. According to Dan O'Brien, it's something that they would really consider. I do believe that they do need to build up their tag team division, along with their women's division, on SmackDown Live. And that brings me to my next point. The women's title may be coming to SmackDown Live as well.
The women's or a women's?
A women's title. Not the women's.
The SmackDown women's title.
So potentially we're getting 2 new belts.
The Universal
3 if you count
Women's Championship.
If you count the tag team as 2
I'm just
belts.
kidding. You guys are talking during my news segment. Where are these voices coming from? I have no idea.
In your head.
That's right. They are in my head. So, That being said, Bray Wyatt sprained his ankle. He's good. Live events, check. Eric Bischoff is suing TNA, check. And SmackDown Live tag titles and a women's title. Do I have any other news? No. Check. This is Josh. This is Josh's News Corner. And we're out.
SmackDown.
All right.
So we're going to SmackDown. All right, we are going to...
Time for everybody's favorite segment, because it's the segment covering the A show. The Shane O'Mac show.
That's drawing less ratings than Monday Night Football preseason.
That's because Monday Night Football preseason.
They were improved ratings from other SmackDowns.
I mean...
Yeah, but I'm going to say it again. You could put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig.
But it's a cute pig.
It's a cute pig.
All right.
It's like a piglet, like in Pooh Bear.
I'm all talking with food in my mouth. Don't talk with food in your mouth.
Yeah,
children.
so we opened SmackDown with the commish Shane O'Mac, the GM Daniel Bryant, and Randy Orton reviewing the film. Watching coaches are sitting there with their players watching the film, critiquing his RKO, telling him that he did bad, he shouldn't have been there, but it was good, it was funny. He RKO'd. Not really much comes out of that segment, except for we find out that they're upgrading security in SmackDown because all of their wannabe wrestlers are going to be able to stop Brock. They think Brock's coming to SmackDown to get payback, and they're going to hire off more security guards to stop him.
Yeah, NXT could use the less people down there, apparently.
Yeah. I do think I saw Hideo Itami and Shinsuke. Like, I thought I saw them in the black security. I didn't know. But then we go on from that. Dolph Ziggler opens the in-ring show. Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose opens it, talking about Dolph Ziggler. Then Dolph Ziggler comes out, and they cut a couple promos on each other. Dean Ambrose makes cracks about Dolph Ziggler makes cracks about Dean Ambrose coming in with the Shield. How he never really had to work to get to the top tier. That because he came in with the Shield, he was at the top tier.
Started at the top, now I'm here.
Started at the top, now I'm here.
And I came in as a cheerleader.
And I came in as a cheerleader. Green jumpsuit and everything.
Yeah.
And he talks about his
left
spirit
out him
squad.
being Kern White's caddy too, though.
Yeah. So he brings up his Spirit Squad days. He talks about how he had to fight, claw, and scratch for everything he's gotten. He's the guy that gets told one day he's not good enough, and the next day he's too good. And we get some really good promos out of Dolph. You get to see a serious side, an aggressive side in Dolph's promo. And then Dean just tells him, you know what? The real problem with you is you're not nearly as good as you think you are. And walks off. And that's kind of it for that segment.
The lights go out!
Oh, wait. Did the lights go out?
The lights are out, actually.
Yeah, they are. But they come back, and Bray Wyatt has Dolph Ziggler ready for the Sister Abigail. Hits it, and starts yelling at him. And he's yelling. He's talking about how Dolph stole Bray's moment. He stole Bray's ability to take on Dean for the title. And he wanted a match against Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown for the #1 contender spot. And we kind of move past there. He gets out of the ring. They walk off. We go.
I want to bring one thing up with Ziggler. A few weeks ago when we were talking about cash-ins and what our favorite ones, I said mine was Dolph Ziggler's.
Mm-hmm.
I was there.
Yeah.
It was raucous. That crowd was awesome. I hadn't really cared about Ziggler here in the past couple of years. That promo back and forth with Ambrose, I mean, immediately I'm reinvested in the Dolph Ziggler character. It's like you said, it's a new edge to the character. It's more seriousness. It's not necessarily him going back to his #heel ways, but that development in maybe a little bit of doubt in his skills that they were trying to portray was awesome. And I'm in on this story.
For sure.
It really was the best way to do it. Last week Ziggler won, and I was completely the #1 contender match. And I was completely caught off guard. I could not believe that Ziggler won. And mainly because of that, because you spent all this time not doing anything with him.
Yeah.
So that was a fantastic way to start the show.
Yeah. And I think we talked about it last week afterwards, me and you. You told me while I was watching SmackDown I would never guess who wins, and I told you Ziggler. I immediately called it, and I told you that they're going to have to book him strong for the next couple weeks leading up to SummerSlam, and I think they're doing that. I agree. I love the evolution of his character in this spot, and I hope they take him and give him a push that he deserves. He's been a workhorse for WWE. They gave Zack Ryder a push. I think Dolph deserves a push as well. But we go from there to the triple threat match for the number one contender to the IC title.
Who are the participants?
The participants are Baron Corbin, Kalisto, and Apollo Creed. He came back.
Apollo Creed?
Yeah, Apollo Creed.
Not Shelton Benjamin?
Titus O'Neil.
Consequence Creed.
Papa Shango.
He wins. He wins with that one. He wins.
I'll hand Josh the belt now. He can take over the
Apollo Crews.
No, Apollo Crews. Nobody in the WWE can get his name right.
Crews.
Soft. Oh wait, no, that's not the right one. Sorry.
Yeah, nobody can get his name right, and I took him last podcast as my steal of the draft because I think he has tremendous upside. And we get this Intercontinental triple threat match, Intercontinental number one contender match, yeah. And I loved the three they picked. They could have gone for some. They could have gone John Cena. They could have thrown a lot of people in there, but the three they picked are all young, newer talent, fresh, and I think it'll get them a good push. Even if whoever wins loses against Miz, I think it gets them a good push being in that picture. But we go through the match. There's a lot of really good spots, and then as Kalisto takes Baron Corbin out on the ringside, Apollo Crews gets the roll up. And my steal of the draft is now the number one contender for the Intercontinental title. And Miz is facing Apollo Creed at SummerSlam. Crews. At Apollo Crews.
You can't even get the name.
You can't even get it right.
No. So, what do you guys think, too, looking at this? They're still booking Baron Corbin really strong.
Yeah.
Like, he ended on top. Mm-hmm. Even though he lost the match, he still ended on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so you can tell they have big plans for this guy.
Well, I mean, you take a look at Baron Corbin, 6'8", former NFL player, former Golden Gloves boxing champ. He's got the tools that Vince McMahon would like to see.
He's got everything but a good hairline.
Well, he's also got a face on his stomach too. But yes, he's got what I think Vince sees in a superstar.
Yeah,
and I don't want him to necessarily become Bray Wyatt 2.0 in the sense where we feel like he's so good that he doesn't necessarily need a belt to justify his goodness.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that all this booking is going to lead down that path. That we're going to see Baron Corbin end up becoming this guy who's always going to be on the periphery but never necessarily be the guy, to quote a certain person on Raw that I don't like at all.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I think just the way they're booking him, I think they're building him up for big things.
Yeah, and to your point, him ending big, you have Apollo Crews coming back to save Kalisto, and then Miz hits Apollo Crews with the skull crushing finale, and then Baron Corbin. What is that?
End of days.
End of days. That's what that's.
The inverted rock bottom.
Yeah.
I like that finisher.
It looks really sick. Like it looks like it would.
I still feel like it looks like he's taking more damage than dishing out. His deep six.
I mean, when you look at,
I like better.
I mean, almost similar impact to Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway.
And then after that, we have the match everybody has been waiting for. All Red Everything versus the Irish Red. Becky Lynch, the last kicker.
Which is orange.
It's red head, is orange hair, whatever.
I'll just mess
yeah, so we have the match everybody wanted to see tonight. Becky Lynch going up against Eva Marie, All Red Everything. And unfortunately,
Travesty of all travesties.
Her wrestling abilities are so great, but we just didn't get to see them because during her entrance, she jumps back down off the turnbuckle and busts up her leg, her knee, something in her leg.
I think she was holding her
hamstring, maybe.
Yeah.
Something in her leg was messed up, and she just could not go. So we have the ref call the match, and
listen, I don't want the queen to get hurt, so I'm okay with that.
Hey,
you know, that's perfectly fine. We will one day get our presence graced with her excellent wrestling ability.
Yes.
It just didn't happen on Tuesday.
But
wait. Our presence graced with her wrestling ability?
Yes.
Yeah, she's an amazing wrestler. Have you never watched her?
Our presence grace. I think that sentence was backwards.
I think you're right. We're just gonna move on. These are the type of things you can't question. Just let it go.
I'm sorry.
But a good runner-up. It's not quite as good of wrestlers as Eva Marie, but we did get to see the American Alpha debut.
Okay, listen. All joking aside, don't you sell the American Alpha?
I was going to try to play this as serious as possible. Okay, we get to see one of my favorite tag teams that's come through in a long time.
World's greatest tag team. Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin 2.0 right there.
Shelton Benjamin coming to SmackDown. We may really have the 2.0.
Yeah.
No! Don't speak that.
But, man, I've been... Jordan and Gable together. Jordan really came into his own once he got partnered with Gable in NXT.
Michael?
Jason Jordans?
Oh.
Jason Jordans?
Jordans?
Jared Ann?
I'm chasing some Jordans, guys. Just, Jason Jordan. When he got partnered with Gable.
I agree.
He came into his own. And they are as hot as a tag team can be. So they have their match against the Vaudevillains. They win.
It was a glorified squash is what it was.
It was.
But it was great. It was good. I'm excited for American Alpha. It should, SmackDown doesn't have a lot of tag teams right now. But you're going to build them up as a centerpiece, obviously. And it's going to be fun. Tag team division is going to be fun there. Just by virtue of American Alpha being there.
Yeah. Guys, if you want to see a really good American Alpha and you have the WWE Network...
There's your plug.
Last week, when they fought the Authors of Pain. Is that what that new group's name is?
Yep.
They came into the match already down because they'd been attacked. And you have Jordan throwing 300-pound dudes across the ring.
You have Gable.
And then you have Gable, who
dudes.
is the size of Josh, but ripped, throwing 300
That was such an
pounds.
unnecessary shot.
No, we've had this... Him and Gable are about the same size.
Yeah.
Like, Gable is not a big... Josh, you're not small, but Gable's not a big man, especially for what he's going against.
Hey, I don't mind that comparison.
So, Gable, who is not a big dude, throwing 300-pound dudes, and he got his literally almost across the ring.
Yeah.
After a vicious attack. That was a great match. Go watch it on the WWE Network on NXT from last week. But we move on from the tag match. And we get the feud that I had thought was over, but apparently it's not.
It's the song that never ends.
AJ Styles has something to say to John Cena. I was kind of...
Some people beating up John Cena.
There was a part of me deep in my heart.
That was good.
Deep in my heart, I was hoping that AJ was going to turn face now that he didn't have... It was way too soon. It was way too soon, but I was hoping he would come out and John Cena would walk out and he'd be like, congratulations on the win. Like, put his hand out for the honor and, like, take the defeat.
The honor.
Just because I love AJ Styles as a face. I want to cheer AJ Styles. But he didn't. He trash-talked Cena. He hit Cena. Cena came back aggressive as all get out. Me and Mario talked about it earlier. I think Josh was in on that conversation. Cena gave one of my favorite promos he's given in a long time because of just how aggressive he was. But he's been on point the last month when he's been giving his promos.
John Cena, the issue with him has always been when his character gets too goofy, cartoony. For me,
Mm-hmm.
That's always been my issue with Cena. It's the same issue that I had with Roman Reigns when he was starting, suffering succotash and all this other nonsense. When John Cena is serious, and he's serious because then he starts talking with that drawl, and somehow he becomes a Southern Baptist minister the way he speaks sometimes. But when we're getting that John Cena, dude, I'm all for it, and that's what we got. We got the serious John Cena. He took AJ seriously. He was focused in on this promo, and it was a great back and forth. And I'm excited for another SmackDown match at SummerSlam.
I don't mind them going at it again. Man, these guys have tremendous chemistry.
Yeah.
So bring it on.
Could even say it's phenomenal chemistry.
I will give you that one, considering it fits. It fits.
Speaking of phenomenal, Fandango was on TV, wasn't
Fandango. Was everybody dangoing? Is that what they call it?
Is that something that's still being
I don't think that's something that's still being on. But yeah, you have Fandango and Randy Orton. What was it Randy Orton called him? Do you remember? Randy Orton had called Fandango some sort of name, and Fandango was upset. So he demanded a match. He got the match.
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. Looks like Randy Orton's about to win. Randy Orton's, Fandango's not on Orton's level. When SmackDown security fails, all that extra NXT staff that they had brought up to be security fails, and Brock Lesnar shows up, hits the F5 on Randy Orton, and we get a no contest out of the match. But it's just,
Let me just say one thing. I'm going to eat my words here. When I said that the WWE would promote Brock Lesnar being on SmackDown, so I'm going to go ahead and just eat my crow here in the corner for a second because I was wrong.
You were wrong,
and that was pretty cool. That was a surprising touch. I dug the hell out of that.
Yeah, it was great. Then we get the real hype. We get to see Brock. We get to see Randy Orton, who we really haven't seen.
And then we get hyper.
Sure, we'll go hyper.
We stay hype. Mojo Rawley, son.
I mean, we're not going Mojo. We're going Heath. They're kind of the same character sometimes. But Heath Slater, he wants a spot somewhere. Somebody sign that man.
Give the man a job.
Hashtag sign Slater.
Hashtag sign Slater. Let's make that trend. Let's do it. But Heath Slater wants a job. And Daniel Bryan says, cool, we're going to put you in a match then. We're going to put you in a match next week. And Heath Slater wants to fight the made-up guy. Jericho's got as his backup. He wants to fight anybody and everybody but the guy who gores him, Rhino.
Gore.
So next week on SmackDown, we get Heath Slater versus Rhino for a contract. If Heath Slater wins, he gets assigned to SmackDown. And he'll finally have a job.
Rhino ain't fitting in his uniform.
They're going to need to put they're going to put a new Y. It's going to be Rhino.
Rhino.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to lengthen that name or something because that uniform's stretching.
Yeah, it's not. It's screaming. That's what it's doing. It's really wanting out.
His body looks like SpongeBob. He's got a very square body right now.
He's somehow he does. He's somehow picking up weight but still staying a block.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
And that takes us to the main event: Dolph Ziggler versus Bray Wyatt for the number one contender spot. And this is where you have, from Josh's news corner, the ankle injury, the roll up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a fantastic match. I think Dolph Ziggler, obviously Bray Wyatt looks strong. Bray Wyatt looks strong in every match he goes into. But Dolph Ziggler looks strong in this match. He looked good in this match. And it's what they need to do. They need to book him strong going into SummerSlam so he at least looks like he can compete for a high-end title. And they did. They booked him strong. He pulls the win on Bray Wyatt.
What a super kick.
What do you guys think about Bray Wyatt taking the pad off of the top rope, exposing the turnbuckle?
Well, I mean...
Haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with Ziggler here. I don't know if they're going to try to turn him heel. That it was kind of dirty of him to take advantage of the exposed turnbuckle.
Which Bray took off, though.
Yeah, Bray took it off, but
Yeah.
he still took advantage of it.
Still used it.
It'll be interesting, like I said, to see where Ziggler's character goes from here. I'm excited for it, but I'm just happy he retained the number one contendership. And
Did he finish with the super kick?
He did. He finished with the super kick.
Sweet chin music.
Yeah.
At this point, with the tights and the super kick and the long hair, let's just call him HBK 2.0, please.
I want him to be more like another superstar, though. You mentioned Dolph Ziggler as the heel. He does heel really well. I want him to be that heel that you love. I want him to be more like the late great Latino Heat. I want him to grab a chair but never use it, slam it into the ground and throw it at his opponent and then just lay down.
That's pretty cool.
Hit. Like, I want him to be that guy that, like,
I think
he's a heel but you love him. He could do it so well. And I hope that's where they go with him.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to say the least. I forgot, man. Eddie was a beast. Eddie was awesome.
Phenomenal. I love y'all. I love that word.
Anywho.
So Ziggler gets the win.
But then we get post-match shenanigans, as we always do.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. Eric Rowan comes out. That was his first appearance on SmackDown this week, right?
Yeah, it was.
And Bray still ends the night on top.
Yeah.
Which I think is telling. I still think Bray's getting his championship before the end of this year. That's my prediction.
I believe
Bray's winning a championship before the end of this year.
Are we talking high end, or are we talking?
We're talking the WWE champion. Whatever SmackDown's top title is, Bray's going to win it before the end of this year. That's going to be. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. I don't think it's
Mark
that
it
much
down.
of a limb.
Put it in the calendar.
But yeah, he's going to finally reach the top of the mountain.
I can see it.
unless he gets injured.
Which, unfortunately, with him happens. I mean, he's got a bad case of the injury bug. I was worried at the beginning of the match when you pointed out the rolled ankle and kind of how he was beating his head up on the mat. I mean, you could see that it takes its toll on him. I mean, he's been constantly hurt. Every time he's had a good push behind him, he's been hurt.
But I will say
he's still young.
I will say he's young, and there's something. I know not everybody likes this guy, but when it comes to injuries, there's something John Cena-esque about Bray Wyatt coming. Look at how phenomenal he looks after coming back from this. Like, he has gotten into some of the best shape we have ever seen.
But John Cena-esque is not the word you're looking for. John Cena-esque means I'm going to get shot in my shoulder and I'll be back next week wrestling. That's John Cena-esque.
John Cena-esque is like, he's John Cena light. Mm-hmm. Like, he gets injured and he comes back in better shape than he was. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily John Cena, I'm going to tear my ACL and be back in 3 weeks. But we've mentioned it time and time again. He looks great.
Yeah, this
has
is
lost
definitely
weight. This is the best I've seen him ever.
Yeah. I mean, even going back to his days as Husky Harris, I mean, he really fit that name, Husky Harris. I mean, this is definitely the best shape that I've seen Bray Wyatt in.
Now he fits the freight train with a Ferrari engine.
He really does. I mean, this is not just the best shape that I've seen him in. I think the draft has breathed new life into him. His promos have always been great, but sometimes they did ramble on a little bit. He's been a lot more focused in what he's saying and how he's delivering it. He's been a beast in the ring, and Bray Wyatt. He's going to be on the top this year.
I believe it. If he can stay injury free, he will be on top.
Yep. So, that was SmackDown.
That was SmackDown.
And that was
SmackDown Live.
SmackDown Live. Sorry, that's right.
Live.
True.
New name. No, but that was
new name, new time.
That was SmackDown Live.
And potentially a couple of new titles.
Couple of new titles.
And since we're talking about new titles, some new ones that are coming up on SmackDown that you alluded to back in Josh's News Corner, I've got a question to pose to you guys.
All right, pose it.
Going back through the annals of time of the WWE, we've had many championship titles. We've had customized for specific superstars. We've had the women's. We've had this. What, Kyle, Sly Guy over there, is your favorite WWE championship belt?
Man, Looks. Talking looks, I loved the John Cena spinner title.
Which one?
Which one?
The first one.
The U.S.
US
title one?
title?
Yeah.
The U.S. title was pretty dope.
The U.S. That, but that's because I was like, what, 13, 14 when that came. Like, I loved it because, I mean, I had the spinner watches and I wanted spinners on the car. Like, but as far as like what the title represented, I loved the hardcore title.
Okay.
I loved the chaoticness of anywhere, everywhere you're defending your title. I loved Mick Foley. I loved that ECW feel of we're gonna do it and we're gonna do it to the extreme. So the hardcore title has always been one of my favorites.
Cool.
Just because of what it represented, that chaos that it represented.
Shout out to Justin.
Hey,
You like that?
chaos! What up, my boy?
So, Josh, same question. Favorite WWE title?
Man.
There's been a lot.
There has been. I'm looking at a few.
Scroll down.
Some lists.
Those right there were really good.
The
The WCW spray paint
I
titles.
mean, that one right there was pretty. This one was super pretty.
I think.
There was a camera. I would put it on the, but there's not.
Yeah. You know what? I really think one of my favorites is. It's got to be a toss up between Big Gold from WCW and then the was it the old school winged eagle?
Oh, the winged eagle one, yeah.
Oh,
title?
yeah.
Yep, that was a good one.
I think out of those two, I probably lean more towards Big Gold.
Yeah.
You do love Big Gold. We've had this conversation.
I've heard you say
it's Big Gold.
You were a WCW guy.
I was.
Through and
I
through.
was more of a WCW guy. I grew up.
He was all about that wrestling with Ted Turner.
wrestling. So yeah, it was the Big Gold title would be my my choice.
I can dig it. For me, ultimately, it boils down to the two people who held the belt that I can most associate with it. My second favorite would be the WWF Undisputed Championship belt, which was the one that Brock Lesnar. You always see Brock Lesnar holding it, that he won from The Rock at SummerSlam, his first major title. But my all-time favorite, and it's mainly because Razor Ramon is my favorite wrestler of all time, is that mid-90s Intercontinental Championship with the black belt that so perfectly framed the gold championship plates on it. I'm going to pull it up here. If we had a camera, you guys could see it. But that belt right there, beautiful.
That is
beautiful belt. I mean, just
you
simple.
You would like the bad guy.
Dude, Razor Ramon was the best ever. Best ever to never win the belt, the WWE Championship. But that title that he always carried, I mean, that I will forever associate the IC title to Razor Ramon because of that. Just iconic for me. My favorite belt of all time, hands down.
What do you guys think of? So, do you think that they should replace the Intercontinental strap that they currently have now? Put it back, leave the plates, but put it back to the black strap.
I like it with the Miz with white. I loved it when Cody Rhodes brought it back. I think for certain people it fits, and certain people it doesn't.
It was like when John Cena lost the spinner, it didn't make sense for anybody else to keep the spinner. I am kind of surprised though. We're all pretty big Stone Cold fans, and nobody said the Broken Skull.
No, but I think
Smoking Skull title.
Broken Skull.
I think
Broken Skull challenge.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think it's just because it's one of those belts that it's so like one dimensional. Like we just said, the IC title with the white strap, it looked good on Cody. It looked good on The Miz. The black looks good on Razor Ramon. Big Gold looks really good on Ric Flair. John Cena with the spinner belt, that matches his character at the time. I don't think I can picture John Cena now with a spinner belt.
No.
And that's why I think the Broken Skull, the Smoking Skull, same mistake.
Broken Skull challenge is like
the Smoking Skulls belt doesn't really pop up. It is an iconic belt, but it's tied to Stone Cold. Same thing with the Brahma Bull belt that The Rock had. It's not as iconic that people think of, but it was a dope looking belt. But again, you only think of that in terms of The Rock. You don't think of somebody like Triple H holding it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, I'm surprised that Mario didn't say the women's title.
Which one?
Which one?
The current women's title.
Hashtag all red everything?
The one that not Bailey.
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Bailey. After the last couple of weeks,
Yep.
She acts more like Bailey than the boss.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, it's just I always go back to Razor Ramon. That's my default.
That's a great choice, actually.
So you had the hardcore?
Mm-hmm.
Hardcore. U.S. in hardcore.
Gotta pick one.
Hardcore.
Big gold.
Razor Ramon's IC title.
And the classic IC title.
Yep.
I like it. Well, guys, this was the Realest Guys Podcast, episode 9.
9.
Thank you for listening. Meet us next time, or not meet us next time, but go ahead and catch a listen next time.
Actually, speaking of meet us. Any chances you go on to SmackDown on the 16th?
This month?
Yeah, it'll be right here in Austin, Texas. Bang, bang.
You know what? I don't know. I have to look at my pocketbook.
We'll see.
Well, speaking of meet us, though,
we could do a meetup.
We could do a meetup, but we could also meet up on Twitter and YouTube.
See what you did there, Particle
and
Circle.
Tell us what your favorite title is of all time. Like, this isn't just something we get to do. This is something y'all get to be part of. Let us know what your favorite title is.
We're gonna be putting this on. This is gonna be on YouTube. Go on Twitter.
Facebook,
let us know.
Twitter, whatever it is.
Yeah, so
how dope is that?
Go ahead and he's got a picture up of Razor Ramon with the Intercontinental Championship. Anyway, don't hesitate. Please leave a comment. We love to interact with everybody.
Hit us up on Facebook, Realest Guys PC, on Twitter at Realest Guys PC. We've got a website, realestguyspodcast.com. We have a YouTube. We have Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes. I mean, if you think you could find us somewhere on the internet, we're probably already there waiting for y'all. That sounded weird.
Hey, well, we will catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks again for listening. Realest Guys Podcast out.